Hi my beautiful stars, I hope they're doing so well today. If you're new here, welcome to my channel and welcome to Molli-Ween. Today's video is going to be about the legend of Bloody Mary. So Bloody Mary is a very old legend, and I believe that this happened around the 15 to 1600s, so hundreds of years ago. And I at first remember hearing about Bloody Mary at a sleepover, very on brand, right? You know, just like the game of telephone, folklore and legends I think have some fact to them, but as years and years have gone by and different people have told the story, it becomes a little bit more fiction rather than fact. So diving into a little bit of history, many people do believe that the legend of Bloody Mary is based on a real person. Her name was Mary Worth. Mary was believed to be a witch by the locals in the town that she resided in, as she lived in a forest and she was older. She sold tinctures and herbal remedies in the town, so people were like, yeah, she's definitely a Wicca. That belief became a little bit stronger when some disappearances started to happen. The townfolk became suspicious of Mary and they pointed their fingers at her, saying she was the one that was making these little girls disappear. Even more people became suspicious of Mary. As these girls were disappearing, her appearance became a little bit more youthful. This does remind me a lot of Hocus Pocus, as they lured Emily into their cottage and stole her essence to become younger. There's a story of a family called the Millers. One night, the Miller's daughter was walking around because she heard a mysterious noise coming from the woods in the direction of Mary's house. I can only assume that she was the only one that could hear this noise. She's being lured into forest. The mother noticed that she was entranced, and she was actually taking care of her own bad toothache with, as luck would have it, an herbal remedy that she had bought from Mary Worth herself. So she's treating this bad toothache and she notices that her daughter is acting a little strange. She's about to walk out the door. She says, "Hey, Mr. Miller, my husband, go follow our daughter. Where is she going? Like, we need to bring her back home so she doesn't go missing just like the other girls." As Mr. Miller is following his daughter, he's also a farmer, just as a side note, he gets some other townsfolk to come with him to see what's going on. He notices a strange light coming from the woods, and as he gets closer, he notices that it is Mary Worth holding a wand, and this light is being casted by her wand, and that is what is luring this daughter into the woods towards Mary. So Mary was unfortunately struck by the farmer, Mr. Miller, because he had a loaded gun with him, and he shot her in the hip and she fell to the ground. The townsfolk took her, tied her up against a post, and lit her on fire. This reminds me a lot of the Salem witch trials. I know that there are a lot of women that passed away due to this unfortunate timing and people just making assumptions about people, and you know, this could have been very well the same instance. You know, she could have just been a woman literally living in the forest, and people just took all of these situations out of context, and without any actual proof they killed this woman. So a lot of people did believe that she was this witch, and that was their reasoning for killing her. Was it real, you know, or were people just wanting someone to blame for all these disappearances? It could have been somebody else completely. And as we've learned about the Salem witch trials, a lot of that was fiction. Like, these people were just making stuff up and then these people died, and it became this huge thing. Obviously we learn about it still today. And so it could have been one of those situations as well. You know, they wanted someone to blame for these disappearances, and because they had no answers, they're like, well, she's a witch, so we're just gonna kill her. And so this could have been a story that they made up just to make themselves feel better about the situation, but we don't know that for sure. It is said that after she had passed away and burned at the stake, they went to investigate her house and they found rows and rows of unmarked graves with those missing children buried there. They found that the blood was drained, and they think that she used the blood of their children to make herself look more youthful. So maybe she was a witch after all. So now that comes down to the ritual that a lot of people still do to this very day. I don't know if I'm even brave enough to do it now. It honestly still kind of freaks me out just with the chance of it happening, if it is real. But people say it by saying her name 3 times brings her forth in the mirror, and she doesn't look very good. Looks really scary, and she'll steal your soul and burn it just like she was, to get revenge on all the people that had burned her at the stake. So she wants to get her revenge on everyone because of what happened to her. Of course, I mean, things have changed over the years. I always just knew that she was a scary person that would pop up. I never even knew about what had happened to her. I never even knew that she was a real person. Just knowing that little fact about her, or just piece of history, whether it is fact or fiction, is very interesting. It kind of makes it all more real. Another thing that I read in my research was that Mary was actually a good person, and when you would say her name 3 times, that she would bring forth a piece of your future in the mirror. There's actually this postcard, I'll post it up here so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. There's a postcard that was created years and years ago of this woman essentially doing the Bloody Mary ritual, and you can see a man in the mirror, and that is her future husband. So it's kind of like a fortune teller situation, I guess you could say, a crystal ball, if you will. So people think that she's just an entity that shares your future with you, which could also mean why, you know, she's a witch, so she's telling the future kind of thing. And other people have said that it is completely fiction, and by being in a dim lit room and you're staring at yourself, you start to slowly hallucinate, and that's when you start seeing things moving, and your face might look distorted because of this certain phenomena that happens when you stare at yourself that long in the mirror. There's a lot of things that can happen, and I find it just very fascinating. So if you know anything else about Bloody Mary that I didn't talk about in this video, please leave that down below. And if you've ever done the ritual, what happened? You know, did something actually happen? I remember doing it so long ago, and like we saw our shower curtain flutter and we're like, oh my gosh, it's a ghost. Could have been, but we also have a fan in our bathroom, so could have been that as well. But I think it's just so fun to talk about this stuff, especially around Halloween. I was just happy to share my findings with you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Until then, shine bright. Bye!